What's up, internet? Today is Friday. My name is Adam, and you are watching Hop on Hashtags. Now, today is not any Friday. Today is Good Friday. And some of you may know what Good Friday is, but some of you might have no idea. You might have heard that term, but you don't know what's behind it. Well, in the Christian tradition, Good Friday is the day when we remember the death of Jesus. This is the day historically that Jesus would have been beaten, crown of thorns placed on his head, nailed to the cross, hung there, and died. A day when we remember death. Why in the world would it be called good? Well, we don't really know. There's not really a great history on the term Good Friday. Some people say that it was originally called God's Friday, and then that just kind of changed eventually to Good Friday. In some places the world is called Holy Friday, which I think is actually a much better name. Even in Denmark, it's actually called Long Friday. So there's lots of variations on what the day is called, but it's not so much the name of the day that's important as much as what we remember today. See, for Christians, the ultimate truth claim about Christ was what he said about himself, that he would die, but that he would be raised from the dead. And so Good Friday in the Christian faith had to happen for Jesus to be who Jesus said he was. So this is a really important day for Christians. Now, some other things about Good Friday. Good Friday would not be a day of celebration in most churches. Good Friday is a day of remembrance, in some cases even a day of mourning. A lot of churches would cover anything that's ornate in their church with like a cloth or some kind of fabric, perhaps just leaving a single cross on the altar. It's a day when you wouldn't find like upbeat celebrations. It's a day of fasting, a day of remembrance, like I said, a day of mourning. It's a day when a lot of Christians will wear black, kind of in remembrance of that. In some cities, including here in Anchorage, there are actually processionals that happen on Good Friday. I think here in Anchorage, they start at some Catholic churches around town, and then what they do is they move as a group through the city, and then end of the day downtown, kind of in our town square, where there'll be some kind of communal prayers, some readings, and basically it's just to remember the weight that this day carries. A lot of churches hold Good Friday services. They're very different than most normal Sunday worship experiences. They're very reflective. They're much more subdued. And a lot of churches, if they have a church bell, Good Friday services actually sometimes end with 33 ringings of the bell, one for every year of Christ's life. He was crucified and killed when he was 33 years old, hence the 33 ringings of the bell. And the final thing actually doesn't so much have to do with Good Friday as much as it's just a huge question that I've heard a lot of people ask over the next couple days. A lot of people know, even if you're not a Christian, you might have heard the term that Jesus was in the grave for 3 days, right? The 3 days and 3 nights, Jesus was in the grave and then he rose. But they say, well, if he was crucified and killed on Friday and rose from the dead on Sunday, that's not 3 days. How does that work? Well, you have to remember that everything in the Bible is about context. Like one of the things we used to say at our church is that any text without context is pretext. So everything in the scriptures has to be looked at in context. We have to remember that Jesus was a Jew. Jesus was raised in the Jewish tradition, and that's the tradition he taught out of. So the Jewish calendar would not look at like our normal 24-hour calendar the same way that we do. Remember, like even in the Bible, look at like Genesis, the creation story. It doesn't start at like midnight, right? It doesn't start like a 24-hour period. It says there was evening and there was morning, day one, because it started at sundown. And so Jewish days would begin at sundown. So if you look at day one as sundown Thursday to sundown Friday, day one, sundown Friday to sundown Saturday, day two, sundown Saturday to sundown Sunday, day three, the Bible doesn't say he was in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights. It says on the third day he rose again. That's the third day. So remember, you have to look at it in context, not just kind of our maybe Western calendars, what it would say. So when you look at it in context, then you understand what Jesus was teaching out of and how the people would have taken what he said. That would be the 3 days. So that is that. Thank you so much for watching this video. Good Friday is, this might sound weird to say, it's one of my favorite days in the church calendar. I'm a big remembrance and tradition guy. And so Good Friday for me is a day when I will pause a lot and think about the price that was paid to have me. And so I hope that you do that. If you're a Christian, I hope you take time today to, amidst work and amidst life and all that stuff, take moments of reflection and pause and remember that you were bought with a price. For Christians, there is no darker day than Black Friday. or Good Friday. Black Friday is probably another great name for it. There's no darker day, but at the same time, there's no day perhaps that would be filled more with hope, because we know that Sunday is coming and it will be full of celebration in life. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon.